The most difficult thing about weight loss surgery as a patient is admitting that you have to have help. That is the most difficult thing, and the permanence of it. Every diet you've ever done, you could take the weekend off, or a week off, or a month off, or 6 months off. That's why they don't work. But when you have surgery, it goes with you on vacation. It follows you everywhere you go. It is there to remind you that you have made a permanent lifestyle change. And there are certain things you will be going without. And the first year, I think, is the hardest. The first few months, it's like, oh, this new tool, it's cool, I'm doing everything, I'm losing all this weight, I feel great. And then at about the 6 month mark, it's not as new anymore. And I'd say the first round of holidays is very challenging. You know, I grew up in the oil patch, and boy, you talk about people can eat, roughnecks can eat a lot of food. And we would go to these all-you-could-eat places, you know, and just pile it up, pile it up, pile it up. And then you have weight loss surgery, and you're eating one little tiny portion here, you know, 4 to 6 to 8 ounces of food, and you're giving up the mashed potatoes and the gravy and what I call time wasters, slider and easy to eat foods like gravy and mashed potatoes and fried potatoes and anything that ends in potato. You're giving up sweets. My mother, there was always something sweet in the fridge. My mother baked. She made fresh baked stuff all the time. There was always a pie or cookies or a custard or something in the house. Food was a huge part of our culture, and we're taking that away. Weddings, holidays, funerals, you name it. You know, they call it comfort food, but it really doesn't comfort us. But that changes immediately. It's not a slow, gradual change, it's an immediate change. And I see people that go through a process. When I was an undergrad, I had the opportunity to hear this lady, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She studied cancer patients that were dying, and she identified stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, and then eventually acceptance and hope in these patients and their families that were dealing with this grief. And everyone goes through those stages at different rates. The same thing happens with weight loss surgery. You know, at first, the first week or two, they're focused on getting well and surviving. And then they go through a period where they're kind of angry. It's kind of like, man, I don't like the way this feels. It feels funny. I just want one more cheeseburger or whatever. And that goes for a short period of time. And then there's bargaining. So the anger usually lasts about a week. And I tell the patients, I say, you're not gonna like me for a week or so when you go through that anger stage. And then I think the stage that's the hardest to get out of is bargaining. I know I've had this surgery, but if I could just eat this or do this one more time, I'd be happy. And that's the dangerous stage. Because the surgery doesn't force you to get skinny. The surgery is just a tool that gives you a level playing field. And if you stay too long in the bargaining stage, you will learn how to cheat your tool. So our focus is to get you out of the bargaining stage into the acceptance stage, where I have chosen to have this tool. I will use my tool to its maximum effectiveness because I don't want to go back to where I was. That is the hardest part of our job, is to move people from bargaining to acceptance. That's why we have a support group. That's why we have an online Facebook support group that's just for our patients. That's why we do everything we can do to make sure you can, even if you're 5 years post-op, that we see you at least once a year. I want to see you once a year to make sure that you're still in acceptance and not in bargaining. And then hope is what you get when you succeed with acceptance. Hope for a better future or a healthier life.